Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, the topic is whom should I marry? And with me in the studio is a known face because he has been here before, and he's also a reverend. Let's make welcome Reverend Ruben Onoja.
Vivid view.
Say and do.
Before discussion proper, please follow us on social media handles as displayed on the screen. Welcome, Reverend, again. Please, your brief perspective on this subject matter.
The subject matter is, whom should I marry? This topic is very important in the situation, in the country we are today, in the life of everybody. Irrespective of whom you are, where you come from, whom should I marry? It's very, very important. Let me give us a brief concept of marriage. Marriage is a union between a man and a woman. And this union was instituted by God himself in the Garden of Eden.
Benny.
When he created Adam, and he caused Adam to a deep sleep, and he took a rib of Adam to create a woman. And when Adam woke up from the sleep, he saw it and he said, wow, this is the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh. So whom to marry determine your tomorrow. Whom to marry determine your future. If you marry a good person, definitely your family, your community, and the society at large will be happy and it will be good. But when you marry a bad person, definitely you are completely finished. And I'm going to put the society in trouble. You are putting the society, the community, and your family. Because who you marry today determine how your tomorrow will be, either good or bad. And that is the reason why you must consider whom to marry, even before get into relationship. Before courtship, you must, as a matter of necessity, consider whom to marry. And you can do that by you yourself. You know what you want, and you know how you want to live your life. So the time for marriage or time for courtship is not the time for misplacement of priority. Time for courtship is the time for you to plan and to know and to consider whom you want to marry should be, the kind of person you want to marry, be it man or a woman.
That's a very elaborate, introduction. Thank you so much, Reverend. Then take me to the next question. What yardstick should be considered before consenting to marriage proposals?
Yeah, before consenting to marriage proposal, there are some yardsticks to be considered. Let me enumerate some explanation. Number one, belief. Number two, family background. Number three, maturity. Then, number four, prayer. The last of it is God's will. When I'm talking about belief, I'm talking about belief in the sense that what you believe may not be exactly what I believe. So if you are to marry somebody from a different religion or from a different culture, you must first of all know what he or she believes, and there must be an agreement for you all to agree to whatever you people believe in, so that you can be able to work together. For example, for a Christian to marry a Muslim, you must be ready to accept his or her belief. Likewise, for a Muslim to marry a Christian, you must agree. So belief is very, very important in yardstick to marriage before you consider your marriage. Then another one of it is family background. Before marriage, before you say, yes, I do, before you give your will or your wealth to any man or a woman, first of all, consider the background by make a research of where the person come from. What kind of family are they? What is happening in that very family? Do they have any kind of family issue, such as maybe sickness that have been in a particular family, maybe the kind of problem that have been in that very family?
Or there's a cause in the family.
Or there may be a cause in the family. When you fail to put all these things into consideration, definitely there will be a problem. Why? Because when you marry into a family that has been caused, definitely the marriage, I'm not saying that marriage is going to be caused, but there's going to be
some issues.
That's why you need to do what? Consider the family. Make sure that the both family knows each other. Know that all that glitters are not good. The family maybe look good outside, they may show love to you, but what is there inside of them, you may not know. Then coming to maturity, that as I've said earlier, maturity that I'm talking about here is not age. Age is nothing but just a number. Though age may be inclusive, but age is never a priority, in the sense that when in Nigeria today, as far as you are at the age of 18 and above, you are free to get married. Mind you, a lady in his 18 years old is somehow matured in sense than men.
The men of the same age.
Than men of the same age, yes. A lady of 18 years is more matured in sense than men of the same age.
Wow.
You must consider maturity. Maturity in age should be there. Maturity in terms of emotional maturity. Financial maturity. Financial maturity is there. Physical maturity is there. And spiritual maturity is as well very important. Why? Because when you have emotional maturity, mental maturity, you will be able to, to solve issues. You'll be able to discuss things maturely. But when there is lack of maturity in a marriage, definitely lack of understanding and fighting may come in. So maturity must be considered. And also prayer. Prayer is very, very important, and it's a bedrock to marriage. Why? Because it is that prayer that you will know that whether this person is for me or not. But let me say this. There is a lady in my church presently who was into relationship, and he told me about this relationship. I asked her, go and pray. Let us pray about that. But at the cost of prayer, something happened. At the cost of prayer, something happened that make the relationship not to continue again. Until the lady had to do what? Find a better and God's perfect will for her. So the last of it is God's perfect will. Now, be sure that yes, this is the will of God for me. And you can know that yourself by what you want, and also by your inner conviction should tell you that this is God's perfect will for me. Just as Adam said, this is the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh.
Yeah, thank you. You have said it all. But in terms of when it comes to prayers, prayers, nobody can, undermine the place of prayer when it comes to marriage. Very, very key. You can pray by yourself. You can ask some men of God to pray. I know there are some men of God now who call themselves that will give you false prophets. But I always tell people, it's something that has original that can be faked. If there's no original in anything in life, you cannot have counterfeit, isn't it? For instance, we don't have 10,000 naira note yet, or 5,000 naira note in Nigeria. So if you see anyone carrying tomorrow 5,000 naira note, automatically it's a fake, because we don't have it. But the moment government, again, for example, introduce 5,000 naira note for one, you see that there will also be counterfeit. So what I'm saying that prayer works. We also have some counterfeit where some people are being misled by prayer. Your self-condition also works. But sometimes I always like for you to give it to God himself, who created you, who knows better than you are. Sometimes there's a way that seems right in the eyes of men, but the end leads to destruction. So we must give ourselves to prayers whenever I want to make your choice. And it's not yet late for you to start. He mentioned that age is the number. Yeah, well, that's what people say is a number, but I tell you, it's still reality. Age is still reality. Whether I call it number or not, it's still reality. When you're making choice. There's some people like to give wide gap in their choices. A man could say, I want to marry a girl that I'll give back 8 years, 10 years, some 15. Depends on you. That is your own. But what is important, let it be the will of God. Well, take a break now. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
This is Vivid View.